In the next couple of videos, I want to create a heightfield color adjust digital asset. This will allow me to adjust the hue, saturation, brightness, and gamma values of the color. This tool will be used with masks to add detail to the color map. First of all, I'll be writing the vex that will drive the tool. So let's begin creating the logic for our color adjust node. And we're going to be doing that again with a heightfield wrangle. So from our heightfield color layers, let's add a heightfield wrangle. So let's begin by creating a vector variable called color, and I want to store on it the color attribute. And I want to be able to adjust the hue, saturation, and value of this color. And currently, we have the color information stored as an R, G, and B value. So what I want to do is convert this from RGB to hue, saturation, and value. And I can do that using a function. So I'm going to type before this color attribute the function RGB to HSV, open brackets, and as it says, it converts RGB color space to HSV color space. So let's add a close bracket after the color attribute and then end that with a semicolon. So now I have stored on this color variable the color as a HSV color space. Now we can start to do some things with this color variable. So I'm going to type color, square bracket, 0, close square bracket. So I'm returning just the hue channel of our color variable. And I'm going to type plus equals CHF, open brackets, single quotation mark, and type hue, close quotation mark, close brackets, end with a semicolon. And now if I hit this create parameters button, we have this hue parameter created. And so what this line here is doing is taking the first channel of our color variable and then adding to that value whatever value here we've got specified in this hue parameter. So let's pass this modified color back to our color attribute so we can see it in the viewport. So I'm going to type color equals HSV to RGB, open brackets. So this function does the same as before, but converts it from HSV color space back to RGB. So I can type in here the color variable, close brackets, end with a semicolon, and then finally type v at cd equals color. And as I move this hue parameter, we can see the hue of the color changing viewport. So let's add some more parameters so we can adjust the saturation and the value. So I'm going to type color, open square brackets, 1, close square bracket. This time I'm going to type asterisk for multiplication is equal to CHF, open brackets, single quotation mark, saturation, close single quotation mark, close brackets, end with a semicolon. And then for the third parameter, I want to type color, square bracket 2, close bracket, asterisk equals CHF, open brackets, and this time the value, but I'm going to call it brightness. And then close that out. And then I'm going to hit create spare parameter button to create the saturation and brightness. So let's increase the saturation to 1 and then bring up the brightness. And there we go. Now we can see our color back. So I can modify the hue. I can decrease or increase the saturation. And then I can also decrease or increase the brightness. And I want to add one more parameter. And that's a parameter to adjust the gamma. So after I've converted the color back to RGB color space, I want to type float gamma equals CHF, open brackets, open quotation mark, gamma, close quotation mark, close brackets, end semicolon, and hit create parameter. And I've now created a gamma parameter, and that's taking this value and storing it on this float variable. So now I want to type color equals and use a power function and say color variable to the power of 1 divided by gamma. Close bracket and end it with a semicolon. Oops, end it with a semicolon, not a colon. So now I'm modifying the color, and it's to the power of this gamma parameter. And so that allows me to change and modify the gamma of our color. So this kind of operates similar to the brightness, but also when I bring it down, it's also increasing the saturation as well. So this can also be extremely useful to have on a color adjust node. So now we can modify and adjust our color, which is great. We can kind of change the look of it, but maybe I just want to do it to certain areas of our landscape. So I want to create a mask here. Let's type heightfield mask by feature. Currently that's not visualized in the viewport, and that's because when we created this heightfield visualize inside of our heightfield color layers, we're applying some custom tinting. So rather than tinting and seeing the mask, it's being tinted so we can see the color. So we can change that by adding another heightfield visualize. And I want to remove the material and set it back to default tinting. And now when I see my heightfield mask by feature, I see the mask being tinted in the viewport instead of the color. So let's just modify this slightly. Okay, that's enough. Now, what I want to do is only adjust the color for the areas that are being masked out. So let's take the original heightfield color, add a heightfield layer. On the first input, I have my unadjusted color, and on the second input, on my heightfield wrangle. So we have our adjusted color coming in on the second input. And then I want to add this mask to the third input. And the layers that I want to adjust are cd.r, cd.b, cd.g, cd.b. And if I now adjust this gamma and start bringing this down, or just the hue, we're only adjusting the areas that are being masked out. If I remove the mask, it does everywhere. If I add a mask, it just does the areas that are being masked. So this allows me to use masks and this color adjust to kind of add additional detail and breakup to the color map. So next video, I'm going to be converting this to a digital asset.